today. So we got a strong team. I guess I'm getting recorded now. Got it. There you go. Here's the couple highlight points I just want to make for everyone. We're entering into a new era of digital engagement and buying this platform as a single solution for end-to-end travel and expense for ETS Next. But the TMC business by itself sort of got embedded in the previous contracts and a little bit on ETS One as well on the civilian side. The DoD side never rolled out their entire strategy yet, so they haven't made the choice between accommodated and embedded. So they're still what we like to call accommodated. We buy the travel agency services separate from the technology solution for end-to-end travel and expense. I happen to be a personal big fan of that. I watched what happened with ETS One and ETS Two. I heard from a lot of small business travel agencies as well as some big travel agencies, and they certainly are independent businesses. They bring different service levels. Sometimes that gets lost when you're under the umbrella of a travel and expense technology contract. So I happen to think this is a very, very exciting time for the government to have you TMCs, travel management companies, bring to us your best input about how you'd like to do business with the government going forward. How do you see the business 5 years from now? Not necessarily next year, although that's helpful, and certainly not 15 years from now. Everybody knows what's going on with content management, the GDS consolidation around the world. And after the pandemic, travel agencies adjusted themselves to it, being in the business in a way they can forecast their best opportunities going forward. So I think the timing is really, really, really good. So we're excited you guys are on the call today. I'll also emphasize to you in the beginning of the contract of ETS 2, what else drove the timing on this? Not just ETS Next, certainly not just the fact that things are changing digitally in the world, but there was a service contract interpretation, and the Service Contract Act interpretation is that travel agencies, a service business, are not supposed to be procured for longer than 5 years. Jackie can touch on that if she wants, and that's why I think we'll probably be leaning towards our travel schedule to, leverage the right type of contracting instrument. But I wanted to say that and give you guys the framework and tell you it's exciting. It looks like it's going to go quickly. They're going to show you the roadmap. They're going to talk to you about what we've done on ETS Next. And so all of those things line up to an opportunity for us to do a lot of business across the entire civilian space as well as Department of Defense. So I thank you for allowing me to jump in. It's a chance for my schedule to get involved. Tom, it's all yours. And again, appreciate everybody participating.
Thank you very much, Tim. Welcome, everybody. As Tim said, I'm the Director of Lodging, Innovative Solutions, and Travel Schedules. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a brief introduction on what the RFI is, just an overview. Then our contracting officer, Jackie Davis, will describe the organization for the RFI. Tom Rusink, who is our subject matter expert for data, will discuss the data elements. Jackie will then go over the RFI submission instructions. Lori Reese, who's our contact in the ETS Next program, and I will cover some important dates. Norm Rose, our industry guru, will talk about architecture and process flow. And then finally, we'll take questions from all of you. So with that, next slide. Why the RFI now, and what are we looking for? Tim mentioned the Service Contract Act. That's a driver, using the MAS as a driver, but as part of the overall ETS Next acquisition, and in concert with feedback that we're receiving from our civilian and DoD partners, and bearing in mind the rapidly evolving nature of the travel industry, GSA is evaluating our overall TMC strategy. First, I want to highlight that this isn't specifically an ETS Next conversation. We will talk a lot about ETS Next, but it's bigger than that. It encompasses DoD as well. As part of the evaluation strategy and process, we're reaching out to you and we're looking for ideas. Like Tim said, we're looking for ways, we're looking for you to give us ways to make it more beneficial for large and small TMCs to do work with us, to do work with the federal government. We're interested to know how the current market is affecting your service levels. And we want to know how specifically we can improve and maintain those levels. We're eager to hear your feedback with respect to the acquisition process. Many concerns you have there: emerging technologies, service level expectations, benchmarks, any commercial best practices that the government should consider. And finally, any issues or areas of interest that you feel would be important to us. Next slide. Now, as most of you are aware, GSA is moving from a hybrid embedded accommodated model to an all accommodated model. That means the relationship is between the agency, directly with the agency and the TMC. DoD is currently in this model, has always used this model, but we're transitioning all of the civilian agencies to this model. We are looking to we're starting right now, as a matter of fact, with a few agencies with ETS Next. Starting now, we're looking to award by summer of FY24. And then we will move forward from there. We hope to get it all done by the end of FY25, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And with that, Jackie will discuss now the information requested.
Good afternoon, everyone. To echo what everyone said, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your interactions with us as we move forward this. So next slide, please. All right, so into the RFI. So there is a lot of information that we're requesting, so we would love to hear your feedback. There's going to be a total of 65 questions that I'm sure you've seen, and we bucketed them into separate and different groups. So the groupings are general questions, service performance questions, technology, operational and account management, airline and hotline, excuse me, hotel and air shopping, and other. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Tom Rusink, who can talk a little bit more about the other attachment that you saw in the RFI.
Excellent. Can everybody hear me okay? Yep. Okay. So as far as data elements goes, we do have an attachment about data elements. And just to give you some background, there is when the T&E business standards effort came about in about 2019 through 2021 or so, they defined data elements that we would like to see to be able to integrate with the financial systems, to be able to have a better P&R, so forth. And so now I will, as you've looked through or seen the attachments, some of those items are perhaps a bit aspirational as to, how do we collect data element A, B, or C. So what we're looking for is we went through those data elements and said, okay, we took out the ones that would be authorization or voucher related that the TMC would not have, feedback into. But then we're left with, I think it was over a couple hundred data elements that we just want your feedback on to say, okay, here's a data element, a data field. Can you be able to, so column E is, can that field be captured and written to the PNR? Can a TMC report on this data element? So are we thinking about this correctly? And then if it's a data element where we're looking for specific values, can you match those values in the column D that we said? So for this field, it would have those specific values. And then we also, any comments about those data elements, because we want to make sure to, potentially pare down the expectations on some of those fields if they're not going to be capturable. We want to know that up front so that we release a realistic RFP if some of those data elements are not going to be ones that are going to be captured. So for each of the data fields, there's 4 columns then that we're asking feedback on, and we do very much appreciate that. And again, knowing that, again, this will help shape what we finally ask for in the RFP for data elements. So over to you.
All right, and so for submission instructions, Liz, could you do the next slide, please? Thank you. So there's 2 volumes for this RFI. The first is going to be the white paper format, where we're requesting a cover or title page with all of the information that we requested in the RFI, like the NAICS code, entity size, things of that nature. And everything is listed in that RFI sheet. In addition to that, we request the responses to the questions, of course, from the RFI. Volume 2 is the section that Tom just covered for us, the TMC data elements worksheet. And as always, if there's anything in there that you don't want shared or you want to mark as proprietary, please make sure we do that so that we protect it appropriately. Next slide. And now we have some dates and notional timelines. Next slide. All right, so for the important dates that we want to note. So questions for responding to the RFI are due to me by close of business September 22nd, and responses to the RFI are due on October 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern. And displayed there, you'll see my email. The email is also listed in the RFI if anybody needs it. If there's any questions at all, concerns, comments, just you can always start with me as your first POC. And with that, I will turn it back over to Tom for the following slides.
Thank you. And I think we covered most of this earlier. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention that we're starting right now in terms of the ETS Next program, the IOC agencies, and getting those TMC contracts awarded late spring, early summer of next year. I think, Lori, I think you're going to cover the ETS timeline, I think, more in depth in the next slide. So I'll give it to Lori.
Great, thanks, Tom. So next slide, please. Yeah, so to just give you all a little bit more context around how the timing fits for the TMC acquisition into the ETS Next timelines. We're in the pre-RFP phase. We have identified our IOC agencies, and so we're already starting to engage with them. And as Tom mentioned, that timeline for their TMC acquisition is very important for their transition to ETS Next in fiscal year 24 into 25. And then we'll have rolling agencies moving in the FOC phases all the way through FY27. So that's kind of to give you an idea of when agencies are going to need to do their TMC acquisition. And with that, I will go ahead and hand it over to Norm to talk a little bit about some process flows.
Okay, may we have the next slide, please? So I tried to simplify this the best I could for everyone. In essence, what we're reverting to is pretty standard commercial practices. So the role of the agency will be around reservations and fulfillment. Reservations is when obviously the traveler calls the TMC for travel planning and booking. Fulfillment is the PNR creation, which often will be created by the OBT, which is part of the ETS Next platform. The PNR is managed by mid-office automation. So we are requiring that you have mid-office automation, and we prefer you use one of the 4 major QC vendors that will involve file finishing, continued monitoring for ticket usage. And then of course, the mid-office also measures against quality requirements and the ability to notify the booking agent if any of the PNRs have anomalies or need additional requirements. And then when the authorization is received, the PNR is final, checked, and complete. So if you think about the way you handle commercial business, it's going to have a stronger similarity in this accommodated model that we're proposing. And we're looking for your feedback and understand that though I made that statement that it's similar to commercial practices, we are well aware the government has some unique practices. So we'd like to understand how that you believe that affects your process flow. Back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Norm. And so with that, that's the bulk of what we wanted to present to you all. So this is kind of our summary slide here. Just again, to reiterate, if you have any questions or concerns about the RFI, direct them to me. Again, you'll see my email there. We do plan to post the the answers to any questions that we get via the sam.gov posting so that everybody can see it. Any information that's on there will not give away either the person or the company that asked the question. So all of that will remain within GSA. So that won't be shared where the question came from, just what the question is in the answer. If anybody would like more information, especially about the ETS Next program, you'll see on the slide there, you can visit interact.gsa.gov to go ahead and join that industry community and get some updates there. And with that, we would love to open it up for questions if anybody has any questions that you want to ask while we have our team here. And again, if anyone wants to put anything in the chat, you're more than welcome to. If you want to come off mute and ask a question, that's fine too. If anybody doesn't feel comfortable asking in the forum, again, reach out to me. You can do that as well. So our team will hold for anybody that has those questions. And if anybody doesn't have questions, feel free to drop off. That was all that we wanted to present to you all today. So we do appreciate your time.
Yeah, we hope this was helpful. And as Jackie said, just reach out to us and we're happy to answer any questions. And if anyone does want to come up with mute, I do hope this was a helpful session for you. So, and we'll look forward to your responses.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, I think I'm going to stop the, oh, thank you.
Oh, there's a question.
Is there a question? I
There's a
think
question said, could you please clarify, will GSA be awarding BPAs under GSA schedule for TMC, or will GSA schedule simply be open for placing TMC task orders?
So Tom, do you want me to take this one?
Please.
Yes. So answer to the question Tom had just asked, whether or not GSA will be awarding BPAs under the GSA schedule or opening it. So that, of course, that's to be determined. That's going to be part of what we're looking at as we're getting the information back from the RFI. I'd say both are options at this point. We definitely want that industry feedback, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it as easy as we can for agencies to go ahead and place those orders, and as well as, maybe getting some new entrants and getting some more TMCs involved in this. So again, we're just looking for a collaborative way to get what the agencies need as far as travel.
Okay, well, thanks everybody. I think that I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting for all and stop the recording. And thanks everybody and all of our presenters. I really appreciate your time and effort that you put into this. And we'll see you soon.
Liz.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Yep.